Hello, you are currently listening to WRUW FM 91.1 Cleveland. I am your host, Matt Hook. Today I am joined by Warren Burnett, an acoustic guitarist from Massachusetts. Thank you for joining me today.
How we doing, Matt?
Warren's a frequent guest on the show. I'm a big fan of his style of acoustic guitar. It's very, very, very melodic, which I always find very refreshing. Also having a bit of a rhythmic edge to it. He's not just playing slow ballads all the time. So it's got a very, very cool and unique sound to it. He just released his latest album, Dreamcatcher, which is why he's on the show today. I think this marks, your third time on the show?
I think this is my fourth time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we started back and when my album came out, These Moments. And then we went right from there.
Yeah, then it was These Moments, I Know Reasons, and now your latest. There's another one in there too, but...
No, Dark Brook, Willow Creek.
Willow Creek.
I come up with so many albums, it's unbelievable. I just keep writing. I get bored.
Now, before we get into your music and your prolific songwriting, I want to introduce the listeners to your music with a song off Dreamcatcher. This is the title track. Alright, so that song you just heard was Dreamcatcher by Warren Burnett off his latest album of the same name. He's currently joining me right now via Skype. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
It's a pleasure to always be here, Matt.
So I know earlier you mentioned your prolific songwriting. I think this is your second album this year, right?
This is actually my first album for this year. I had two previous albums last year.
All right.
Was Reasons and Dark Brook, Willow Creek. And this was my first album for this year that actually just came out about a month ago. And I am working on another project, which you'll be seeing very soon. It's called The Gift. Like I said, I get bored. So I do a lot of songwriting I mean, I should do it on my couch. You know, I sit on my couch and I watch movies and stuff, and I'll just I'll take the guitar and I'll fiddle with it, and I'll fiddle with it, and I'll figure out tunings and stuff like that. And what I've been doing is, what's really helping me with my songwriting is on Instagram, I've been doing a 1 minute video challenge to myself. So I'll make a song in 1 minute, basically, just for to show my product, how I play and all that on Instagram. And what I do is I take that and I share it right to Facebook, and I share it to the groups and stuff. And people really dig it, and I actually get a lot of ideas by doing this as I go through, because I have multiple guitars here. So I got a 12-string, and I got a whole bunch of 6-strings here, my mandolin. So I keep switching back and forth, and I get many ideas. And the feedback on Instagram and Facebook really encourage what they think is a good song. So that's kind of how my songwriting has been going for this one coming up, The Gift, which like I said, you'll actually be seeing extremely soon. I'm trying to get it out before Christmas. And it's going to give you about 5 or 6 songs. It's a little mini one. That's why it's called The Gift, because it's like basically a gift. I'm giving you a little mini album for the holidays. Without the holiday music, though.
It's based on a series. So were those 1 minute songs you did, were those just improvisations that you'd record, or is that something you'd write out beforehand?
I would improv on the couch in front of the camera for Instagram and stuff like that, and then I'd go back and I'd actually go through the videos again, and I would figure, okay, that would be a good song right there if I made it a full song. And that's what I've been doing. I've been taking these songs, and I was able to make complete songs out of these, like I said, improvs, and I recorded them. And they're all recorded right now. I've got 6 songs right now recorded. I just got to put backings on them, and they're actually ready to go.
That's awesome. And that's for your latest album. So what was the process like for Dreamcatcher?
Well, Dreamcatcher, like I said, my last album, Dark Willow Creek, which I did with Sid Dunau and Jeff Adams, that came out, towards fall, basically. So right after that, I just started writing again. And the winter season is such a cold and dreary season and all that. And, you sit in the house and you just come up with ideas, look out the snow and, the moon on a winter's night. And my first song I ever wrote was actually Dreamcatcher itself. That was actually the first song for this album I ever wrote. And I wanted to be really different and pronounced. And the way the backings and the flute sections in the back and all of that, I wanted to be really melodic, basically as I was going, through the season of winter and then into the spring. I started writing more songs for the seasons that are coming up and all of that, and my different feelings of sound, or what this song should sound like for this season. And like I said, this a lot of melodic feeling and a lot of exploitation into the music that really created this album. And I would get ideas from watching movies. I recently watched a movie I absolutely love. It's called A Walk in the Woods. You probably heard of that movie. And it has such beautiful music in it with the mountains, reminding me of Vermont. And I got a lot of music thoughts from that. And it has inspired me to actually write a song on the album called Emotion and another song called Traces. These songs right here I get this inspiration to kind of write those songs because of my times in Vermont. I recently bought some new equipment too, so I got a lot of nice flute sections and on my keyboard and stuff, and a nice fader. And I think it really added texture to each song I did that I wrote. It's just basically like I said, as the season goes, my experiences outside through the summer and spring, and now we're going into the fall, winter. It just, each song kind of just reflects each season as it comes.
Because I know a lot of your writing and is very nature based, and because that's where you do the majority of your composing, right? Is outside in nature.
Yes, I visit a lot of parks over spring and summer. My favorite place is Rutland State Park. I would sit right there and top of the hill over the lake, and I did a couple of YouTube videos doing that, and I just play what's on my mind. I just create as I see in front of me. The scenery itself gives me inspirement to come up with certain notes and certain ways of doing my music. And like I said, alternate tunings, that's what I use. And actually, this whole entire album is truthfully every single song is alternate tuning. There's not one standard song on this album at all. And that's all I use because it has really good bass notes. It's got really good melody. You can really carry on with higher notes and just key sounds in the music that really takes you away, almost like a soundscape. And with a little bit of mix of country, basically. I get a lot of people say my music sounds like country as well. And I mixed in a little bit of blues with Ricochet, stuff like that, because I like slide guitar, but it's not slide guitar. It's just a nice kind of a bluesy sound to that song as well. So I kind of wanted to mix everything right into this album and weave it to each song being its own identity, basically, for each sound and emotion in the notes and my songwriting. And truthfully honest, I think it's one of the better albums that I've done in a while. I actually like this one better than the last one.
Why do you think this one's better than your last one?
Well, it was all me, basically. And I don't know. It's just the way it sounded. And I think the new equipment I got here kind of, as explored, it gave a little more sound to the music. And I don't know. I feel this is a more powerful album. It was because my last album, Dark Willow Creek, had Jeff Adams on it, and he was very classical, a very classical songwriter, and it was kind of a summery album, truthfully, honestly, into the fall. It really, because his classical way of doing stuff, it was much more mellower, which I think this new album, Dreamcatcher, has a little more upbeat songs on it and a little more up tempo than the other album did. So that's one reason why I say that. Plus, a lot more flute sections, and I added a lot more into it. And I mean, I really worked one song. One song on there it really took a long time to write. Jesus Christ, can't remember the damn song. But it took a while to write and stuff. But a lot of these songs were kind of tough to write for me too. So
I'm curious, when you talked about alternate tunings, are you usually tuning to open chords and like trying to pre-plan, all right, I'm going to write a song now in open D or something, or do you ever just take the guitar and I'm like, all right, I'm going to just switch around some of these strings, see what happens?
I have a list of alternate tunings I usually go by, because as you know from my many interviews, I was always into Michael Hedges, and he had a lot of alternate tunings, and it's all he used was alternate tunings for his music. And so, like I said, I have a list right there that I constantly go back to and go, you know what, that sounded really good doing it this way, like Dreamcatcher was CCD G AD. You know, it's a weird tuning, but a lot of good bass notes. And that's kind of how I, each song I did, I made everything kind of low, and that's my process. I like using alternate tuning because it's better exploitation, because everything's really you hear today is on standard tuning, and I just don't want to sound like everybody else, because it's very easy to sound like somebody else on standard tuning, because so many songs have been playing it that way. And I figured that if I use the tunings for everything, and capo, I use capo on a lot of my music too. A lot of everything's really capo down to the 7th or the 6th. I have a new song called Paper Glass I just made for this new album. That's all the way in the 9th.
Oh, that sounds
capoed. Yeah, so it really has like a mandolin sound. It's really high pitched. So that's how I explore. You get bored and you kind of just what works, it's something different that nobody's doing. That's what I'm trying to do. So my music kind of stands out there.
Yeah. And do you prefer to play by yourself when you're writing an album? Because I know you said that was one of the reasons why you thought this album was better than your previous one.
Only reason why I say the album's better because of the production of it. But no, I don't prefer to write by myself. I'd rather actually have a jam partner. I really would. I would, because I like being a leadist. I like playing leads to people's music, and it's really fun. Like when we did Jeff Adams, I really had fun playing leads with his music. So I'd rather have a partner to do it with. I would love to have a partner, but the main problem is nobody's around here really to play with, and everybody's got day jobs, and it's very tough, and there's not a lot of time. We got family, work, and kids, and everyday life. It's just hard. It's hard to get together with somebody and write music. So in my evenings, when I come home, I have time to myself, and that's how I do my writing. So, but I'd rather have a partner, basically.
Yeah, but it's hard to keep that up when everyone's got day jobs and everything, especially since you're in a fairly rural area too, so it's just population just isn't there.
Yeah, it's a lot of woods around here, and like I said, there's nobody around. There's not a lot of folks around here that really want to get together and play. Or if they do, well, they're the wrong kind of people I want to hang around with. There is people here in Spencer that I could, but their lifestyle, the way they work and play music, is not my kind of lifestyle. You know what I mean by that.
All right, I gotcha. So next, I want to play another track. This is called off your latest album called "You and Me." All right, so that song you just heard was You and Me by acoustic guitarist Warren Burnett. Warren's currently joining me over Skype. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
My pleasure. I tell you, that was a song I was talking about right there. That was a very tough song to play. It took me actually a very long time to make that song. It's just the structural part of that song that's very tough, and the way it's played. But I had a fun time writing it. It just took me about 30 times to record it.
Oh my God. Was it just because it was just technically difficult or just structure-wise?
It was very, structural-wise, was very difficult to play. There was so many parts in that song that was very tricky that I made in that. And it really was the structural part of that song. Plus, it's the tuning for that is actually E, 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 B, E. So
that's rough.
it's a weird tuning. I actually on YouTube, I actually played that song at Rutland State Prison Camp in the cave. I did that so when I played the song, it would echo off the walls in the place, because I use a little Black Star mini amp when I go out to the woods and go places to play my guitar, because it's nice. I got nice little effects on it. And I actually use it for recording at home, too. It's very versatile for mandolin. And I've actually done a lot of videos with that, too, for YouTube. And I played that, like I said, I played that song at State Prison Camp. It was, like I said, it's a very tough song, but it's a very pretty song. You know, it's about me and my girlfriend. You know, you and me together, and, you know, our little adventures and stuff like that. So the song does have meaning to it.
That's very beautiful. That must have been incredible to hear it go off the walls of a prison camp, even though a prison camp is a bit of a of an ominous place to play such as like a song that doesn't have that kind of an ominous meaning.
Especially where I played it, I'm telling you, there's a lot of graffiti, and it's actually a haunted area. It's actually known to be haunted, the prison camp, because of the history. You know, it's back in 1843. You know, you're looking back at when the prison camp hospital was there, and the actual cells are still sitting there. Though, is actually a four cell block right there. You can actually walk into the prison cells. They're old, and you know the roof collapsed, of course, but you can still see the prison and where the bars latched onto and stuff. And around the area, there is where the shower stalls used to be, and the tunnel underneath where the water used to go into. And right in the middle of the prison camp is an old vegetable cellar. That's where you used all the produce in there, and keep it all there. And then it just became abandoned and all that. And like I said, graffiti and all that. Most people go in it, but it's a very long cave, basically, and very echoey. And you can stomp on the floor. You can really hear it. And very cold in there, too. And it was a very hot day when I was playing the song in there, so it was actually soothing and refreshing. But it's still, you know, I knew the acoustics in there would be really good in there. So that's why I even played Black Rain in there, too. It was really that powerful song in there. Like I said, it's on YouTube. So you can find any of my videos on YouTube. Anything I do, anything big, is all on YouTube.
So how can our listeners find your YouTube channel?
Just go punch in Warren Burnett Music. I guess YouTube did a whole entire YouTube mix for me. And it shows right there, 70, my top 75 videos. You can find all the albums on YouTube. All the albums I've ever done are all on YouTube. The label Phoenix Music, he did that, and he put it all up there, all my albums, plus all my live videos I've done outside, home. I've done some professional stuff in my studio where I've made everything dark with a black curtain in the back of me and actually did it very professionally. with just light on me to make everything kind of pop out on the video. So you can find anything. And my main channel is a California 051. That's where my main videos are. I'm pretty sure I'm going to make this one says Warren Burnett on it, but right now I got the California 051. And like I said, Warren Burnett Music. And Google's the same thing. Google actually, you Googled it, be the same thing. They have all my videos on there as well.
Interesting how your YouTube channel name is the California 051, because you're not, did you ever live in California?
No, what it was, when I first started out, I started dating my girlfriend, Amanda, and she had a YouTube channel. And she says, I'll put you on YouTube. I'm like, okay. I have a YouTube channel called the California 051. She made that up. And, it was just supposed to be a one-time thing, and then I just kept using it and using it and using it. And I'm like, well, geez, might as well keep going now. And I just never got a chance to making actual YouTube channels as Warren Burnett on it.
Well, it's too late for you to make your own.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of hard because people don't know what it is. But like I said, if you press in Warren Burnett Music on YouTube, it's right there anyways. They have a whole YouTube mix for me on there. So you'll find the channel easily. You'll find my videos easily. And like I said, the top 75 or 78 videos of what I have for music.
So, again, thank you so much for coming on the show. It was great to have you, as always. Anything else you'd like to say to our listeners?
I'm glad to write music. I hope everybody's enjoying it. You're going to hear more music from me. I have, like I said, very soon, a little mini album coming out called The Gift that I'll be very soon releasing. And that's going to be a really little pumped up kind of album, a little bit of blues in it. And it's going to, my structural and melodic music, just like Dreamcatcher. And I'm going to keep writing and going until the end. So just expect more music from me all the time.
Right, great. One more thing I just thought of. When you said earlier that, you can't, the type of people who are, a lot of the musicians in your area aren't the type of people you like to hang around, is that a reference to, drug use and things like that?
Yes.
All right.
Yes, these are people that, they're band rooms. There's some guys down the road that I've hung with before, and they're just kind of people that they're older people, and they were in that kind of age of they never really grew out of the heavy drugs, and I don't want to be around anything like that. When I work with people, I'm very professional what I do, and I'm not a guy that let's just do this and see how it works, or that how it works. I take a song, I work on it until I perfect it, make it, finished, and I'm satisfied. I'm very meticulous of who I work with and the potential. And I just can't have that kind of drug abuse around me with the people around here. So there is professional musicians in my area that I know, like Tanner's Path, that I've actually talked to me and him maybe doing something, getting together and stuff. He's a nice, Tanner's Path has beautiful music, beautiful singer. Greg Johnson, he has great music, great songwriter. And I want to do something maybe with him soon, when me and him get the time to get together and play. And I would love to do something with Jeff Adams or Sid Dunow. Sid Dunow, he just came out with a new album himself. So, he the Heaven and Hell song he just came out with, and Splinter 26, that's what he just came out with. So, and he works with a band called Conspiracy Theories. So, these are people that I like to work with, people I trust, basically, and professional. That's what I kind of mean by that.
Yeah. Not a bunch of people who haven't grown out of the hippie era, right?
Yeah, well, I'm 38, and I'm not a very young man myself, but I'm not into doing heavy narcotics like that. So I'm not, or heavy drinking like that. I can't do that. I'm not the type of guy that starts drinking at noon and goes to sleep by 8 because I'm too no, I can't do that. I work all the time. I'm a constant worker, and I kind of discipline myself not to do that because of my job. I got to drive. I got to pick my girlfriend up, and I like to. Only time I really do that is when I'm home by myself, like this evening, and I'll work on music and stuff just to relax and get into the groove. A writer's area, basically. It's winter. You're home. But like I said, I'm very disciplined in what I do, and I like to be professional. And I just don't like to take music and just, that's fine or that's good enough. No, I'm very meticulous. As you can see on this album, everything was very meticulous. I like to ask you a question. What was one of your favorite songs in this album? If you could choose one.
Ooh, I really liked Lake Reflections. That was a good one. I must say, the title track as well. Those are two great ones.
A lot of people enjoyed that song. A lot of people enjoyed that song very much. I really had fun playing that song. I would say that one and one of my other favorites on this album, I would say, for nice blues kind of feel is Ricochet. And like I said, I was watching A Walk in the Woods about two older gentlemen that walked the Appalachian Trail, and they, in the music on their journey through the Appalachian Trail and the mountains and the scenery and what they went through was so beautiful that the song Emotion really came to me with the backings of it, of really nice piano work and the faders fading in and out. It gave me a good feeling. But that's one of my other favorites on this album. And Traces and stuff like that. It was just a very fun album. But that's definitely about it.
Really comes across
any
in the
other
music.
Questions?
No, that's about it. It's always, as always, it's great talking to you, Warren. Especially interesting to hear about drug use and stuff, because that's always something that people tend to associate with music and art. That's very much one of those pop culture myths that every, musician who does anything is, constantly drinking or smoking, like a Ernest Hemingway type.
Yeah, well, I mean, I do have my, I do smoke, but I'm not into like that kind of thing, I don't go like these guys. What you're doing down there is a little bit different than smoking. They're,
Yeah.
And I just don't want. Plus the day drinking, and I can't do that stuff, And we're in Massachusetts over here too. We just legalized pot over here, so. Oh God. So. And all that, so they're going crazy around here about that stuff. But like I said, I work so much and stuff that I just don't have the time, and I got to keep my mind focused, because I work 5 to 6 days a week. I got to keep focused on my job and stuff like that. But
And what is your day job, by the way?
I do auto body.
All right.
You smash them, I fix them. I'm a frame tech. I take vehicles and I measure the frames, and on actually a computer we have a new laser measuring program. It's actually a computer basically that goes underneath the vehicle and measures points underneath the vehicle, and it shows on the computer how far something got hit, if it's high, medium, width, length, and where it needs to be pulled back to factory specs. And that's what I do. I work on a frame machine all day.
All right.
So that's a fun job. I like music better. I'd rather do music full time, but unfortunately, auto body's paying the bills.
Yeah. Hard to make a living through music no matter what. That's for sure. All right.
Exactly.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. Always great to have you. Again, this was
always a pleasure. Thank you very much, Matt.
This is Warren Burnett, acoustic guitarist. We talked about his latest album, Dreamcatcher, which is currently available on all major streaming services.